The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests. If you're a sensitive snowflake that may get easily offended, then turn this off immediately. If you want to hear the real truth about the gun culture, then stick around. This is the Armed Citizen Podcast.
What is going on, my Go Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast live. We are live as always on YouTube, simulcasting over on Facebook and on Periscope, which I think is thrown out to Twitter. Hell, I don't know. But welcome. If you're live, go ahead and say something out there in the chat. We don't know that you're out there unless you do. If you're new to the channel, new to the show, then yeah, go ahead and say something. Let us know where you're from, that you're new, and we will make fun of you a little bit, but then we'll try to welcome you with open arms. We can't promise to make you any smarter, but hell, we're just trying not to make you any dumber than what you already are, which if you're talking about me, is pretty dumb. If you are wanting to call in or text in, yes, you can call and text into the show. Utilize the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends Rod and Shelly Gates at Aegis Gun Care. That number is 530-364-4678. It is scrolling right down there. So you guys can use that if you'd like. If you're a veteran, really anybody, but especially if you're a veteran and you're in that hole and you can't seem to find the way out, call me, text me, email me 24/7. I cannot give you any medical advice, but maybe I can be a good ear to listen to you, maybe talk you through some stuff. But like I said, if you're out there, remember two things. One, you're not alone. You have a lot of brothers and sisters out here that are willing to help. And two, the world is a much better place with you in it. So please get some help. If you're looking for someone that can push you towards some medical attention, utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline. That number is 1-800-273-8255 and press 1. Once again, 1-800-273-8255, press 1 for the Veteran Crisis Hotline. I've got a little dog tag that you can see right there. You can text it or you can call it. So yeah, we're spotlighting, as always, United States Marine Corps. If you have any questions on what it takes to earn the title United States Marine, visit the website marines.com. And as always, we are a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. It is a great website that has a lot of like-minded pro-gun, pro-2A, pro-freedom podcasts all in one area. A lot of your favorite podcasts are over there. So go check out selfdefenseradio.net. Get this off of my ugly mug. We're not sure. We're supposed to have our good friend Charlie Melton, who, as everyone knows, is former Navy SEAL sniper, was an instructor for Kyle. Excuse me, goodness gracious, got something in my throat. An instructor for the American Sniper, Marcus Luttrell, a bunch of them. But yeah, he's traveling out west today. I just got a text from Rod out there, who was talking to him earlier and had a little issue at the airport, getting on a flight or something. Not sure. When I texted him last time, he was working on trying to make sure that his laptop was going to work. Oh, my daughter says, home from work. Love you. Talk to you later. Love you too, kiddo. But I don't know. I don't know where he is. He might be in the air right now. I don't know. There were some issues with flights and all of that. So I'm hoping maybe he shows up. If not, we'll obviously reschedule. We'll get Charlie on whenever, but we're still going to talk some long range stuff. Had some stuff come in over the last couple of days, so we can talk about that. But before we do that, let's bring in our good friend, kind of riding shotgun with us as always from the great state of Texas, the tactical leprechaun himself. What's up, Clove?
Breathe, man. Breathe.
I know, dude. I know.
Good God.
I'm tired and all of this. I mean, like, why is the rifle still in the box? You'll understand why here in a second. This is my new rifle. Just came in. But before we get all to that bullshit, I want to talk to you real quick, Clover, and say,
okay,
if you were, let's just say, if you were actually going to be my shotgun rider.
Oh, yeah. Well, that makes sense. You would definitely want me in that position.
I would want you. What shotgun would you use?
Oh, dang, man. That's a good question.
That's a great question. I only ask the tough ones.
So what are we riding in?
Well, we'll say it's a stagecoach, a carriage.
Ooh, so we're going authentic.
We're going authentic. We're going straight up shotgun rider.
Well, I go with some type of, and there's many out there. Man, let's just go uber rare, something that you're probably only going to see in the J.M. Davis Museum. Let's say that we go with a shortened double barrel Wells Fargo double hammer shotgun.
Wells Fargo safes were the ones that
Why
were
not?
prevalent. So
Yeah, why not?
Well. G wants to know how many horses. Hell, I don't know. What was the normal? Like 4? Is that normal about what it was? 2 or 4, I think.
Yeah, but like
depends on the weight and the big. Yeah, I mean, it depends on how big the stagecoach was. And
depends on how much horsepower you want, right?
That's right. How fast you need to get there and how long the trip is. So yeah. Before we get going, I wanted to send a shout out. Out there in the chat is New York Outcast and Rob D, whatever you want to call him. He's gone by both. He says that's a lot of crayons, and he's right. I always have my crayons here, but I've got a new one right here, and this is something. So if you can see, I've got a new display, and it's from Rob D. He sells wonderful Glock and AR wood stands, and they're beautiful. So this is this display in the box. Knowing Rob, just making a little fun, he sends some crayons to me. So once again, I embrace the suck. Oh shit! And so my man sends me some crayons. Let's have some fun with them and all that jazz. So go check out R&L Displays and awesome stuff, really awesome stuff, wood displays. And Gary's, there you go. Thank you. Gary's got the website out there. It was great. Lance out there says y'all could ride double on a single horse. I
no,
don't think that's going to happen, but
no.
Probably not.
I'll take the Shetland if it comes to that. Thank you.
Right. G says I would have needed 8 for all the golden guns I'd be dragging.
Right.
This is true. Let's go up here and see if I missed any good stuff. Oh, got a little super chat here. Ricardo, thank you, Lucy. He says, hey, everybody. $5 super chat. Appreciate you, brother. As always, we do not ask for, nor do we encourage them. But if you have the wild hair and decide to throw a super chat, first of all, thank you. All super chats go to send care packages downrange to our troops overseas. So I appreciate you. So everyone knows over the last, it's been a couple years in the making. But really in the last month, I really decided, I said, you know what? I keep talking about this. I this, that, and the other. The only way it's going to happen is if I just do it. The old Nike adage, just do it. And I've been talking about doing long range precision shooting. Everyone knows that Ricardo says glad he can make. He's also a channel member, so thanks to him and all my channel members and patrons. You guys are awesome. But everyone knows about when kind of getting in or when to get into the long range precision. I don't hunt, so I don't have a dedicated marksman rifle for long range. Can my ARs, can they reach out there if I need to? Yeah, but I want something that's a dedicated marksman rifle. Sniper rifle, precision, whatever you want to call it. It's my dedicated marksman rifle. And been talking about it. Went down to Texas with Clover and his wife and Rod and Shelly Gates from Aegis. Went down to Charlie's place a couple years ago. Really kind of enjoyed it. Obviously I've shot long range before, but I've never dove into it. I've never really tried to understand a lot of the stuff. and listening to Charlie give a class and then going to shoot with him and all of that. Like, I think Clover, you probably remember, but I left like fired up. Like I was like, oh, okay, like my eyes were open. Like this was going to be something. And life happens. 2020 happens. 2021 happens. All of this stuff. And like I said, I've been wanting to do it. And I finally decided, you know what? I'm going to do this. And so I spent the last month really trying to look into what is great rifles and all of that. Obviously, you know, I don't mind spending money, but I also don't want to sit there and go nuts. So I'm realizing that there could be people out there spending $20,000 to $30,000 on their loadouts. I wanted to, one, not do that because one, I don't have it. But more importantly, I wanted to see, can you get involved in this? And I'm not looking to win a national championship or world championship right now. Maybe later. I am competitive, but I wanted to see, can I go out there and compete, have fun on a budget? And I set myself up where I would be willing to spend about $2,500 and all that. But I wanted to get as quality stuff as I could get while keeping it as low as I could.
Cheap.
Yeah.
Cheap.
Yeah. I am cheap, but I'll probably outshoot a lot of people also.
God,
so.
I think, you know, there's not even a rifle in that box. You got a Bergara box. You're so cheap. You got a Bergara box from that somebody threw out the back of the gun shop, and there's probably like a 2x4 in there or something.
Well, there's a baseball bat.
There you go. Same thing.
And if you guys were on Instagram or whatever, I put a picture of the new rifle that came in today.
That's Photoshop.
That really wasn't the real one. No, it wasn't Photoshop. I just went to the gun shop and said, hey, can I hold that rifle up?
Dude, I never thought about that. You could be Pimp Daddy firearm owner. Just go around to gun shops, create some crazy name on an Instagram account, and just go around to various gun shops taking selfies of yourself holding your new whatever it is, right? And post one like every day.
Like go to a random gun shop. What's the most expensive firearm you have in your store?
Right.
Whether it's a rifle, hand, whatever it is, what's your most expensive firearm in the shop? And can I hold it and take a picture of it?
Right. And then claim you bought it.
And then claim it. And then you go to the next one, what's your most expensive? And all you're doing is putting these damn things out there that are just crazy. Now you look like Mac Daddy. You look like Tack Daddy, you know. So if you follow that, then you know the rifle came in today. I can do this because I'm not handling the rifle technically. There is the Bergara B14 BMP, which means Bergara Precision Match. But yeah, so there's the rifle. And then yesterday, we had the Harris bipod show up. Looking forward to this. This is a swivel with the notched legs. Looking forward to with this. And then the Athlon scope, 6-24 by 50 scope that came in from Athlon, or came in. It's an Athlon scope.
And you said you had an Athlon rail, right?
No, I got a loophole. Got a loophole rail.
Whoa, yeah. Mr. Cheapy went loophole. Look at him.
I did. Well, ironically, when you were looking for scope mounts, the low end to the high end, quote unquote, there's not much difference. So if you're going to, you might as well go. And let's just say that a UTG, which I think UTG puts out really quality stuff for the price. Don't get me wrong, but let's just say it's UTG and loophole, and there's only $15 difference.
Yeah, right.
You're gonna go loophole, you know.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, what about rings? What'd you go?
So, I've got oh crap, what are they? Vortex. I've got Vortex 30. So this is a 30 millimeter. And so I already had a really good set of Vortex that I wasn't using because I was using my my LPVO on one of the ARs. I'm using the Monstrum that are really high quality rings. So I had a set of Vortex that I wasn't using. So I'll throw on the Vortex rings with those.
Three screw, or
What's that now?
how many screws?
4.
2 on each side.
2 on each side. Yeah.
So
You
2
talking about
screws.
the cap?
Yeah. So 2 screws.
Two on each side. Yeah.
Yeah. You just count one side, so that'd be 2 screw. Yeah.
2 screws. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Might eventually look into some 3 screws, some wider rings, give it a little better, steadier base, maybe.
Yeah, I probably will. There's obviously there's going to be a lot of stuff that I'll be upgrading in the next months, years, and all of that. Jacob says, "Is loophole cheap?" Not usually. I mean, loophole is when it comes into the optic game and all of that. They are, I don't know. I mean, U.S. Optics, Night Force and all that. There's a lot of really high loopholes. Like, I don't know. Would you consider them the same tier as Night Force? Not maybe second tier. I don't know.
Loophole is the bottom of the top or the top of the mid.
Sure.
However you want to, whichever way you want to look at it, in my opinion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when you start talking about, especially when you start talking about bases.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that it all don't come from a place overseas anyway. You know what I mean? It's like
a
lot of
factory, like
it's
the red
one
dots.
of them. Yeah, it's like a lot of the forged parts you see for ARs or whatever. They put them in packaging with whoever's name on them, but ultimately they come from being in the same freaking place. So, and you got to wonder that because you're right, there's not really that much of a price jump when you get into the hardcore named brand stuff, and so you got to wonder is that because they come from the same place anyway?
Yeah, and when it comes to a rail, once again you're talking about anywhere from $45 or $40 to $70. The difference typically, you have some $15 ones. Don't want to go that. And I have $125 ones. Not there yet. The $125 scope mount is something I'm probably going to put on a Night Force. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to go and put that on a $500 scope or $700 scope or whatever,
Yeah, if you've got a Night Force, you're going to spend.
You're spending on everything.
You're probably going to spend $300 to mount it easy. If you're going to drop that much money on a Night Force, it makes no sense to not do that, right?
Yeah, you're going to get the best rings. You're going to get the best mount. I mean, you're going to go spend $5,000 on a scope. Yeah, you're going to go a few $100 ain't going to kill you, So, So looking forward to it. I've got some other stuff that I've got, like some accessory stuff. Dope books and levels and all that.
That could be a whole other career with the dope books. I'm just saying, you study those really well, and you could make all kinds of money. Just saying, especially if they end up taking that border wall down, man.
Okay, just saying. Anyway, so looking forward to getting out. Gonna spend the first 20 rounds breaking in the barrel. So when I picked it up, all I did was able today. I did a little dry fire for about 15-20 minutes with it, just kind of getting used to everything. Got length of pull done. So after the show tonight, I'm gonna mount this scope at least and get that leveled and all of that. Get the cheek rise good to go, get the placement of the scope, get everything ready to put the bipod on, so at least have a working rifle that I could go out to the range. And then either tomorrow night or in the next couple of days, if I have time at night to go take about an hour and a half probably to break in the barrel, I'll do that. And then I will spend hopefully maybe this weekend, like maybe Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, I'll be able to get out and zero the optic. So really looking forward to this. The journey has begun. Like I said, this has been a 2-year want to, and like I said, I'm glad that I'm able to do this. because I'm really, and Clover knows I'm on the phone with him a lot in the last month or so, but like I haven't been this excited about something to do with firearms basically since I started shooting competitive handgun with IDPA back, I don't know, 2015, 2014, somewhere in there. So I'm really excited because this is not only something new, and I'm not even to the competition side of it yet. To me, it's something new. It's a new discipline. It's pushing the boundaries of what I know I can do, but hoping what I think I can do. Learning as much as you can. Learning, being able to just soak up as much information and soak up as much knowledge from a lot of people. And I want to tell you, if you're out there, and also before I do that is, so anyways, what I wanted to do is have this project, and Jamie out there, I shoot with Jamie. He's local. Yeah, it is super addictive. I'm already addicted and I haven't even started. So, but one of the things that I will say that I'm doing this is I was able to get the majority, the basics. We're not talking like shooting mats and sandbags and little stuff like that, but the main stuff, the rifle, the bipod, the optic, the mounts, all of that got for right at $2,000, which I am really, 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 really happy with, because that's part of the project. Is this a project of me going through the journey of getting into long range precision? But part of that journey is to get into it with quality stuff without having to go and spend that $25,000 on my loadout. So getting in for $2,000 right now is I was really excited about that. And maybe this could help some people down the line say, well, man, he got into it for $2,000. I was really thinking it was going to cost a lot more than that. Boom, let's go do this. And you can probably, I'll put it this way, and you know what I mean, Clover. You can get into this for under $1,000 if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You could find a rifle. Go find yourself a Remington 700 or a Ruger American, and whatever caliber that you want. Go find yourself a really good. Hold on, it's going to text from Charlie. Oh, snap. Sorry, I'm texting Charlie. So, yeah, might not be joining us tonight. We'll have to make it up with Charlie. He's stuck in an airport.
Nice.
Things have not gone well today with his flying. So, no worries, brother. Be safe out there. We'll get you on maybe hopefully next week or something. Anyways, yeah, but you can go and get a rifle for $400 or $500. You can go and get yourself a scope for the other $500 or whatever. There's some scopes out there that you can find for $300 that may not be the top of the line, but it can get you started, you know. So if the reason I'm saying this is, first of all, if you get shamed, then shame on them. Anyone who's going to shame you to try to get into something for as cheap as you can, shame on them, because at least you're trying to get into something new. And if price has been something that's been holding you back, then even you can get into it for half of what I've got into it. So, yeah, sorry.
Well, and
go ahead. Yeah. I'm sorry. I was reading Charlie 6. Go ahead. Yeah.
And so why are you getting into it? Are you truly getting into it for the experience and the community and, you know, having fun and that sort of thing? Or are you getting in it to dominate? Right. That makes a big difference as well. If it's something that, you know, you've already shot on your own, you go, you know what, I think I'm pretty darn good, you know, and you want to come in and just dominate. Much different situation than, you know what, I want to go out, I want to have some fun, I want to learn, and then, you know, maybe decide if I want to spend the kind of time practicing and doing the other things. Because if you want to go in and dominate, your life is going to revolve around that, whatever it is, period. Been there, done that, burned the t-shirt multiple times for decades. When you start getting into competition stuff, whether that's softball or you know what I'm talking about, or basketball or shooting sports or anything, ballet, your life is going to revolve around that. So, if you don't want to make that commitment, or you think you can't make that commitment in some people's position, why spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on gear? It makes no sense.
Well, it's funny in the IDPA, and it's not as bad as USPSA or whatever, US practical shoot. Yeah, USPSA. IDPA is not as bad as far as the snobs, I would call it. They have the race guns and all, because ours is more still concealed stuff. So I use a Glock 19, and I was getting top 10s at times, placing decently. Never won anything, never even came close to winning. But I mean, I was definitely not last place or anything like that, And I use a Glock 19. And are there some people that use the race guns and all of that? Sure. There's guys that are going to spend a few $1,000s on a handgun for that. Cool. Most people use Glock 19s for that one, and then Glock 34s or M&P 2.0s in whatever division and all of that, depending on the size and all of that. There wasn't a lot of shaming. Shaming and all of that, like you said, if you want to go in and compete, you're going to have to spend money, because everyone's a good shot, and it literally comes down to your equipment, probably, to decide who's that national champion. Because at that point, all of those freakers can shoot. It's who's dialed in the best that day. Now, Buck out there says, I'm glad that you got the rifle. I needed someone to give me a nudge. So I know that, Buck, everyone knows that I shoot with Buck a lot. And he's looking to get into, I think, a Ruger in 6.5. He wants to get into the long range game. And then Lance out there, I know that he's been talking about getting it into like a 308, but I think he wants to go like AR-10 and a 308. But this is going to be something that, and I know that our sheriff, Chris, he's got a long range. I think he's got a 308, and he likes doing long range stuff. So if we can get 4 or 5 of us, and then Jamie out there earlier saying that, he sent me a message last night, and if we can get 4 or 5 of us that can consistently maybe go and try to do competition and anything else to push ourselves and all of that, that would be really, really good. Now this is an interesting question. When it talks to optics, G says, thoughts on buying good used glass or new cheap glass? I think that for me, I'll let Clover come in on this. It all depends on who you're buying it from. If you know the person and who's got a used scope that's a quality, let's say a $2,000 scope that you can get for $1,000 or whatever, or you get it for $500, and then the cheaper scope that you're looking for, new is $500. If you know that person and you know that they take care of it, you can look at it before you buy it, you can test it before you buy it, then absolutely that used scope market. If you're buying it online through eBay or something like that and you don't know the person, for me, I would rather have it used through a reputable source than used from someone that I don't know if it's fake, if it's broken, if it's, whatever the case may be. I would be hesitant of buying a used scope online, but if it's someone that I could actually get my hands on it, try it out, look at all of that, then absolutely, I think that a used scope is very much valid, because especially if you're finding a guy that's going to take that upgrade, and this might be his first one. He's 3 or 4 down the line. He's decided now, well, I'm never going to go back to that. Might as well start. But it was still a really good scope. But he's only used it for 4 matches. It's got a lot of life to it. So what do you think about a good used scope versus cheap new scope?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, that's the same whether we're talking a firearm or just about anything else.
Anything. Yeah, absolutely.
If you know the history and now if it's an optic that has a transferable lifetime warranty type thing, and it doesn't matter, and you can send it back and basically get a brand new one, If not, get it repaired or whatever. If something's wrong, then you don't have assuming price is right, then you don't have obviously a lot to worry about. But you got to be mindful with that, right? There's a lot of things you got to know when you go in and you start looking into the used market. So, I think that's the issue, and where a lot of people maybe get in trouble, right? Is because if you buy new, you don't really have to know as much or be as educated as if you're buying used. Because you're buying used, like I said, if you don't trust that person, or even if you do, maybe that person doesn't know what they're looking at or what they're doing, right? And it's not like they want to be misleading, but they've got a scope that's always been a piece of junk because something's wrong with it, and they just never was educated enough to know that's what was wrong, and maybe that's why they replaced it. And so that's one of my things, even if it's somebody I know, when I go into, hey, I'm looking to get rid of this, it's like, why are you getting rid of it? Right? That's the number one question everybody asks. So it's like, why are you getting rid of it? Because if it wasn't good enough for you, right?
Why is it good enough for me? Yeah.
And sometimes the answer to that is a reasonable answer. It's like, because it doesn't fit what I need to do. I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z, and it works great for this other stuff, but not for what I'm moving into or whatever the case may be, right? And that's an acceptable answer. But yeah, you've got all these variables that float around used. But assuming that you know what you're looking at, assuming that warranty can still be valid and things like that, I don't have a problem with it. Unless it's super cheap. I mean, if it's $1,000 scope and you can pick it up for $150 or $200, well, take a shot, right? But on the flip side, if it's $1,000 scope and you're trying to pick it up for $650, $700, $750, that's still a big chunk of money. You can get a really nice new scope for that kind of money. Maybe not that scope and that brand, but you can get something nice. So, at that point, you need to be a little more vigilant with the decision you make.
Absolutely. Mad Sexy's out there. I want to send a big shout out. Happy birthday to Mad Sexy. See that Gunpowder Beauty's out there. Happy birthday to Jesse as well. First of all, Mad, why are you here on your birthday? Surely you've got better things to do in your life than watch this shit show for your birthday. But anyways, thanks. He does have a good question. He said, and I'm not going to say it's a long range match. Let's just say any match or anything like that, because, but he says, say you're at a long range match and see a new person struggling and you've been through that same struggle. What do you do or recommend? Well, if it was me, absolutely, you're going to help. And this is something that what I love about the shooting sports, and Clover, you know this as well. If you've never been to any kind, doesn't matter what kind of shooting sports match, for the most part, everyone in a match, especially to newcomers, is extremely nice, welcoming, courteous, helpful. One, because really good people, but two, they're not threatened by you. They're not worried about you beating them because they think that you're new and all of that. So most people are going to be very likely to help you in any way that they can until you start getting close to beating them. Then in general, they may not help you as much, but that's a life trait. That's not just a shooting sports. But if it was me, I would help that person as much as I can. Go off to the side after they can say, hey, have you tried this? Have you tried this? What if you did this? And what if you did this? And I noticed you did it this way. This might be a better way to try out. Just like my thing is next. So I'm going to spend all winter long getting used to the rifle, finding a good loadout, a good recipe for ammo and all of that stuff. By the way, it's 6.5 Creedmoor. I didn't know if I said that. 6.5 Creedmoor. And then next spring, but the first, at least one, if not two matches that I go to, I won't be shooting. I will be going to them and just watching, observing, seeing what they're doing, how it runs, asking questions, and just soaking it all in. Probably filming some stuff just to so I have a visual reference of what a stage looks like and what the do's and don'ts are and all of that. So that'll be, as I would call it, it'd be my recon. I want to go there and recon and look at what it's all about before I jump in. So I would say, Mad, if it was me, I would help that person, even if they were getting close to me. I don't care if they beat me. I'm not one of those people who's going to stop helping because you're going to start beating me. If someone's struggling, they're struggling. And there's no, whether it's shooting, whether it's basketball or baseball or golf or whatever it is, if you're struggling and you don't know, like for some reason you've gone brain dead and you don't know why you're struggling, that's the worst place in the world to be, is struggling and don't know why. So a helping hand, even an encouraging word, can help. And I'm hoping that I get treated the same way. I'm hoping that when I go to these things, that people will have open arms and welcoming and all of that too. So I know that you've done a lot of competition. You've taught a lot of kids that do a lot of competition. And I would think that you would agree that for the most part, the shooting sports community is a really welcoming community.
Yeah, it is. And there's something to be said. I mean, my attitude is, and it's in life in general, it's not even just shooting, but if I can give some direction, coach, teach, whatever, and help somebody be better at it than me, right? I mean, I recognize that, I don't got God's gift or whatever you want to call it for this, that, or the other. I mean, I know how things are supposed to be done. I understand the mechanics or the physics of things and whatever, but I never was gifted. Some people are gifted, yet they don't have the knowledge they need, right, to utilize those gifts. And I see that over and over and over again. So there's definitely something to be said. Don't knock yourself or discount yourself because you're not as good as somebody else, or especially if you're able to impart that knowledge.
Wasn't a world champion the first time she picked up a firearm.
Yeah.
That was a question. It's interesting because my wife asked me when I went to the gun shop today and picked the rifle up and all that, knowing that my wife knows nothing about shooting. Everyone knows. Hello. My bad. Knows nothing about shooting or guns or anything like that. And she asked me, I think the question was something to the extent of, is it the shooter or is it practice or is it the gun that makes someone good? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
You can be a really bad. Now, are there people that are just naturally gifted shooters? Yes, there are. For some reason, they don't flinch, or they understand different things. There's people who are just naturally going to be gifted shooters. It doesn't mean that they have a higher top end. It just means they might get there quicker. Okay, for some reason. But there are people, you practice hard enough with shooting, you can become a great shooter when you were bad. Now, is that likely? Maybe not. Good equipment, good guns, good everything helps those, but practice is practice. But to be a great shooter, you have to have a little bit of natural ability. You've got to work your tail off, and you have to have decent equipment that's going to be, if you do everything that you're supposed to do right, that gun has to be able to perform. If you have a crap gun and it won't perform to what you were expecting it to do, then it doesn't matter what your mechanics are. But if you've got good mechanics, you've got a good gun, and you work your tail off, the sky's the limit out there, really. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, you want equipment, and I say equipment because this applies to just about anything, but you want equipment that can absolutely outperform your talent.
Yes.
And then at that point, it's all on you. Mm-hmm. And the beautiful thing, that can be stressful or it can be empowering, right? And what I always taught the kids is, don't look at that as a stressful thing, like you could always screw up. Look at it from the standpoint of, as long as I do everything I need to do, I'm going to perform wonderfully. Mm-hmm. Because I know the equipment's going to do it. There's no doubt with that aspect, right? So everything that could possibly go wrong, I'm in control of at that point.
Yeah.
What could be more empowering than that, right? Now, when you talk about the gifted versus the people that practice a lot, so that's an interesting dynamic. And so you see people that they just mop the floor like every competition or whatever it might be, and it's obvious they're gifted. But here's the thing. I've seen people that were gifted that were really dedicated to practice and stuff like that. And I've seen people that were gifted that were not. And so here's the thing. If you've got somebody that maybe they don't have that gift, but they are dedicated to their regimen of practice and everything else. The people that are gifted seem to have more bad days, right?
Yeah.
Than the people and that's all it takes to win a match against a world champion, is that world champion's just got to have a bad day. And sometimes that bad day literally comes down to one shot, right?
No doubt.
Yeah. So, or 0.2 of an inch, or 0.2 of an inch at a shot.
Yeah.
Throwing a shot,
or the
right?
10th best shooter as far as rankings going into that match for the world championship could have just everything comes together. Timing's great. Everything's great.
They don't make any mistakes.
Before. They don't make a mistake.
Yeah.
They run clean.
The key, and I think whether you're talking about any competition, the key is not making mistakes. And it's just like when we talk about EDC and things like that. How do we mitigate that? How do we train for that or practice for that, right? And it's repetition. Mm-hmm. The more we do it, the more our body is accustomed to doing that certain thing, the more, we can do it consistently. And that's another thing is being consistent. Going out and like when you do it, we've had we had that conversation. We've had the conversation before that I told you, shoot at a certain distance and, don't start out necessarily small at first. Right.
Yeah.
And then get consistent. So what I always taught, the first goal was shots on paper. That was always the first goal. Was literally, the whole target is, what are they, like 11 by 14, or I don't even know size wise. And it's like literally we don't even shoot. I mean, I put up a blank 11 by 14, and it's literally put them on that piece of paper, right?
Yeah,
and from there we work to the target's on there. If you're talking about precision small bore, 1 3/8 inches across, right? The whole target. Not, rings are inside that. But then the next step from hit the target, you've got 2 cider bulls in the center, which is fairly large. And it's like, okay, now let's work on the ciders. Stay inside. It's what they call the racetrack, right? And it's a ring that if you're sighting in, you can't shoot outside that ring. If you do, it counts, right? As long as the shots are inside the ring, your match hasn't started yet. And so next we practice, keep all the shots inside that. Then we go to just get a score, right? Just hit the target. Doesn't matter if it's a 1, doesn't matter if it's a 10, a 3, a 7, just get a target consistently, right? Every single time you pull the trigger, you're putting a round on target, right? And just work it down like that. I mean, that's a mentality that you've got to start with anything. You've got to start bigger picture, right? And just kind of be consistent with that, knowing, because I mean, how much is that if you let's say you shot 6-inch steel all day every day at 500 yards or 800 yards or whatever it was, right? Then if you go into a match and you've got 8-inch steel at 400 yards, well, that's a no-brainer, right? You're like, I in months or years I've never missed a 6-inch at 500 yards. I'm certainly not going to miss an 8 at 4,
right?
And so that's a confidence boost, and that's another thing too. Is, being confident in what you're capable of, and also proud of what you accomplish, because you've got to shoot.
Little victories mean a lot.
Yeah. And you've got to, and I guess it's in any sport, and shooting sports is works the same way. And we've made that analogy back and forth a lot tonight, but, going against yourself, right? Competing, you compete against yourself first and foremost. And so every time you go out, compete against yourself. What have you done in the past, and can you do better? That's your number one goal. Now, if you win a match in the process, great. But always strive to improve yourself, not to beat the other guy. Strive to improve yourself. And in improving yourself, eventually you'll start beating the other guys or girls.
Absolutely. Now, Buck earlier up there, I said he was looking to get into a Ruger, and that was the last time we had talked was the Ruger, and I forgot that he mentioned we're in a little group text. And he mentioned he's going with the Savage 110 Tactical in 6.5 Creed. Is what he's going to go with. So he is not going Ruger. He's going to go Savage 110 Tac. In 6.5 Creed. And like I said, Lance is going to go, I think, AR 10 and 308. Now, kind of what you're talking about is something that this is part of, for me, this is part of the journey that's going to be fun, because you especially know this, but most people that know this about me, I'm more of, with handguns, I'm more of a silhouette guy. I'm not looking to be a precision guy with my handgun. I'm talking battlefield. If I hit a silhouette and that threat is ended, that's all I care about. I'm not looking to be precise. It's, hey, if I've hit them in the ribs, the liver, any way to end that threat, I'm more of a silhouette guy. And rifle, which, AR rifle, I use a 36-yard zero. Why? Because I know that from 1 yard to 300 yards, I'll be able to get a 6-inch group. Well, 6-inch group in precision shooting might kill you. Like, you might come in dead last if you're getting 6-inch groupings. So the precision side of things, this is not only with long range going to be a new discipline, the whole idea of precision for me is going to be brand new, because I have never been a precision guy. I'm more of the mindset of defense and battlefield, where at that point, I don't care where it hits, just hit the target. Precision in some matches, like you said, 0.2 of an inch is the difference between first and fifth place sometimes. So that side of things is really intriguing to me also, because it's a complete different mindset of being a little bit more patient, where, in IDPA or USPSA, it's run and gun. You're just shooting as fast as you can, getting shots on target. You do that in precision rifle shooting, why even go?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. And there's a lot that goes into the precision side. And this is one thing that I've never, I'm not saying I don't know, but I do practice a little bit. I do make sure that it's close. But on any of my other ARs and rifles and stuff, I've never much care. I've always kind of got my buck stock to where it's comfortable. I've never given a damn about length of pull, being precise, just checking it and make sure it's correct. Because in an AR with a battlefield zero, you don't have to necessarily be precise. In precision shooting, length of pull, height of comb with your cheek weld, your cheek riser, all of these things, distance, the eye relief, all of these things have to be pretty much dead on for you to be able to maximize. Like you said, this rifle right here is a sub MOA out of the box.
Yeah.
I'm not a sub MOA shooter right now, because I've never tried to be a sub MOA shooter.
I bet you with that rifle, I bet you are.
No. What I'm saying is my mindset, as I've never cared about groupings.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm worried about a silhouette.
Yeah.
If I put an 11x18 silhouette steel at 300 yards or 200 yards or whatever, 100 yards, and I hit anywhere on that steel, I'm happy. Different mindset. So I like what you were talking about. Get equipment that is better than your ability, because that's going to push you to get there. And then once you get there, then that's when people ask, when do you have to upgrade stuff? Well, when your ability catches up to the levels of what that equipment can do. If you reach that finally, then go upgrade. That gives you kind of chasing the rabbit. Go chase that. Right now is a sub MOA rifle.
Well, your equipment will always be better than you. Or let me rephrase, equipment, right, will always be better with you. The technology, the capability of what that equipment can do. Let's say we put it in a vise, the absolute perfect ammunition for that firearm, and a robot finger pulls the trigger. There's no pull, there's no breathing, there's no and everything. That it's gonna outperform a human all day, every day, and twice on Sunday, right? And it will always be that way. So yeah, you're right. It's forever a chase. The thing when you talk about length of pull, the comb, the eye relief, again, that goes back to consistency. And when you get into precision stuff, the number one thing you have to be is consistent.
Yeah.
And it's not recommended.
If you're not putting your cheek weld the same place and you're not putting your finger on the trigger the same place, then nothing that matters. Absolutely. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, absolutely. And what I was going to say is, it's one of them things to where I don't want to say this. I say it jokingly, but there's some truth to it. In that, if you have a problem with jerking the trigger to the right, you have that problem, and you cannot overcome that problem, then jerk that trigger to the right every single time.
Every single time, and zero at that.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I mean, preferably learn not to jerk the trigger to the right. Right? That's the goal. That needs to be the goal.
Right.
But everybody out there hopefully understands what we're saying when we say that is, the idea is to be consistent. That's why we have refs. That's why we have lead sleds. That's why we have other things. It's because firearms are inherently designed. Even a $300, you talk about being sub MOA, aside from a milsurp rifle that's been completely shot out, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe an old FUD rifle or something like that that's been shot, the barrel's been shot out or something like that. I've seen very, very new rifles, and I'm talking stuff that gets horrible reviews, and the action feels like it's wrapped in sandpaper. And I can get out here on the range, get on a set of bags. I don't even have to put it in a lead sled, and get on a set of bags and shoot sub MOA at 100 yards with it. So again, equipment is not a hurdle in this day and age at all. Equipment is no hurdle. So spend your time focused on your skill and your craft and what you can do.
Absolutely. It's one of those where it'll be fun to do this experiment. And we can do it at the range with me and Buck and Lance and Jamie and some others if we wanted to. Let's just say we're going to use this rifle. Everyone uses the same rifle, the same optic, the same ammo, and all of that. So the equipment itself is going to be constant. That variable is not going to be changing. It's a constant. At that point, you can sit there and see, okay, hey, you're going to have to figure out your own length of pull. You're going to have to figure out your own eye relief. You're going to have to figure out, as 223 says, your parallax. You're going to have to figure out all of this stuff on your own, but on this rifle, and everyone's going to shoot. And then we're going to take 10 shots at 200 or 100 yards and see groupings.
Yep.
That would be a kind of a fun experiment to do, because at that point you would kind of know, hey, can't blame the rifle because these guys are hitting it great and I'm not. So once again, it must be me. And that's okay. Drop the ego and say, hey, if you really are in this to learn and get better, then why do you want to be perfect right away? It's not fun if you're perfect right away.
So there's a lot of fun games, especially when you get into competition, right? I'm excited about this, and almost as much as you are. So there's a lot of fun in games when you get into competition that you can have, and one of them is similar to what you're talking about. But instead of everybody shoot the one rifle, but put all three of your rifles out there. Same ammunition on each rifle. Everybody brings their setup, but they bring enough ammunition for 3 people to shoot, right?
Yeah,
and each one of you shoot each other's rifle along with your own, right?
Right.
And compare. Now, one of you is going to be great on all 3, most likely, because
and that tells you that their mechanics are solid.
You've got better inherent fundamentals and everything else. But here's the thing. When somebody sees somebody take their rifle and just wreck shop with it, right? A lot of times that'll inspire that person because that's your equipment and you're going, holy crap, look what it's capable of. I am not
do that.
Right. I'm not able to do what he's doing on my rifle. That's my rifle. And he can shoot it better than
my
me.
Ammo. Everything is mine.
I need to buckle down. I need to practice more. I need to whatever. And then that's when some of the networking can come into play. You go to whoever it is that does it and you say, hey, man, let's talk a little bit. So get down on my rifle again. Here's 5 more rounds, right? Walk me through what's going through your mind and what you're thinking, right? He goes, well, okay, I'm loading around and, okay, now I picked it up. I'm paying attention to my grip. I'm not gripping too hard or whatever the case may be. This is where my trigger finger is at, this is how much pressure I've got on the comb. I mean, literally get them to walk you through every single little thing that they're thinking about and is going through their mind. And that's going to do a couple things. First of all, that can potentially show you what you're doing wrong. Right. But second of all, for the person doing it, right, that
making sure they're consistent as well.
What they normally just go through the motions and do, now they're thinking about that process. They're actively thinking about that process.
Thinking, am I bringing that back?
Well,
what am I doing here that I can explain it to the next person?
And that helps them.
Exactly.
Helps them sure up, right? Their mechanics and their fundamentals even more. Now they've relayed in words what they normally just go through the motions on, and so they can think that in their brain every single time. So it makes them a better shooter in the process too.
Yeah. Now Buck out there says, tell Clover he can come shoot with this if a 22 LR can shoot 1,000 yards. First of all, it can, but knowing Clover's bitch ass, if he's going to come shoot with this, just because this is how he is, he's going to have to outdo us. So he'd bring his 50 BMG. He wouldn't bring 22 LR. He'd bring his 50 just to say,
yeah,
what's up?
For 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 300 Win Mag or 300 Weatherby Mag.
Yep. He says, are you going to be shooting from a bench or prone or both? So I will probably end up doing some bench rest stuff, but the bench rest competitions, those are the ones that are like crazy, like 1/100 of an inch determines a winner. I'll be shooting PRS, is Precision Rifle Series, or NRL, National Rifle League. And those are the ones that are kind of like the IDPA of the rifle series, which I like. It is still precision because you're going out to up to 1,000 yards using, but a lot of it is steel. It's steel based at different size steel at different yards and different distances and all of that. And let's say you have 10 shots to hit in 2 minutes, okay, or a minute and a half. And it's not timed. It's like, hey, if you go faster, you get a better score. No, it's all about your hits. But here's the thing. You're not on a bench. You're not necessarily prone. You don't know. They could have a barricade, like we have built, Buck, for the rifle range, the barricade, and you have 4 different platforms, and you have to shoot 2 shots from each of the 4 platforms in a minute and a half. And you might have to be on the side. You might have to be on a knee. You could be standing up. You might have to have it. There might be a rope hanging from 2 posts that you've got to set your rifle on. If you're out there and you're interested, just go to YouTube and then search for Precision Rifle Series Match. And there's some really cool videos, or National Rifle League Match. And you'll be able to get some really cool videos of some of these matches. For me, it's just it's exactly what I want. I don't think that I would have as much fun with bench rest stuff. Yes, I would have fun shooting. It'd be fun. But for me, getting up and having to move and shoot from different positions and all of that stuff, that is exactly what I'm looking for. So, yes, you're going to have some bench stuff. You're going to have some prone. You're going to have some on the knee. You're going to have some, you have to create your own stance and support for that rifle because you're in a weird position. Whatever stage they come up with. But if you go and look at the PRS or NRL, there's some really, really cool stuff. Let's see here. 223 says your point of impact changes from bench to prone. I think he meant to say prone, not prong, but yeah, it's just one of those things where, to me, that's more battlefield stuff, and that's kind of my idea, and that's what I enjoy. Is it's precision rifle shooting, but almost with like a sniper mentality. Is if I'm a sniper in a battlefield, I'm not necessarily looking for that headshot. I don't care where I hit that guy. As long as that threat is eliminated, so my guys, if I'm doing Overwatch, as long as that threat's gone and my guys can continue to move on without him being a problem, I don't care if it's a headshot or if it's a chest or wherever. But like I said, it's in steel, so you're getting impact. So if it's like, hey, you got 15 shots in 2 minutes, you got to shoot 3 shots at each of these 5 positions and locations on this stage at 450 yards, and your time starts now. You got 2 minutes to get 15 shots. You take your 15 shots and you say, hey, you hit 12. So your score for that stage is 12. period, in a sentence. It's not, there is no, well, he hit a target, but it was in the bullseye, so we're going to give him 1 instead of 2. No, it's either hit or it's a miss. It's either impact or a miss. And you count your number of impacts. And at the end of the day, if let's say you have 10 stages and you have, 87 out of 100, well, you're going up against what everybody else does, because if you run out of time, whatever shots that you don't get off count as non-hits. You're not penalized. From what I gather, from what I've been doing research on, you're not penalized. You just get zeros for them. It's either you're hit or you miss.
Well,
and you add up your hits to the end of the day and take your chances. That's awesome.
And important to point out too that they only call hits, so you've got nobody spotting for you.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. You're going to be able to see your impacts, hopefully, but you're not going to, I guess if you want to, you can take a spotting scope and see where you're hitting or whatever. I don't know. Chances are if you're hitting, you're good, but you're going to have to make little mill adjustments and all of that. But yeah, you don't have a spotter. The spotter is going to tell you hit or miss. And that's just for the competition. He's there as the range officer for that stage, saying hit or miss, or he's not even saying miss. It's either impact or nothing. He just says nothing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool to me. So I'm looking forward to that. Am I interested in bench rest stuff? Sure. But more, I'm interested in the moving aspect and the shooting from awkward positions and support stances and all of that. That's fun to me, But yeah, you'll be, I had some questions. Let's move on real quick. I had some questions that I was going to ask Charlie, and we'll bring Charlie in maybe next week and all that. But you would have some of these, and if you're out there in the chat right now, let's see your answers as well. So let's say that you're new to the long range game, right? And you've made that decision. Okay, here's my budget. And I want to get a rifle, a scope, the mounts, bipod, that. Here's my budget. Do you go caliber first and then try to find a good rifle in that caliber? Or do you try to go find a rifle and see what caliber is offered in that rifle?
Yeah, so knowing that I'm going into a specific competition and you require this many rounds for, whatever it might be, and probably going to do some homework with the caliber and all first, and probably go from there. And the reason I say that is we get back into practice, right? And so for me, and other people may be different. They may want to go niche caliber, balls to the wall. For me, I want to be able to practice more. So therefore, I'm going to need some cheaper ammunition, some cheaper on the scale, capable of doing it, but yet cheaper on the scale, and probably end up going from there. Because when you start talking about rifles capable, of doing it, there's plenty out there and plenty of barrels and other things. So you can kind of build around that if you need to.
That's what I went with, and I went with cartridge first. I was like, okay, I'm going to go 6.5 Creed, So now let's go and start doing research on what are the better, or what's, the good, the bad, the ugly of 6.5 Creed precision shooting bolt action rifles. I know there are people say I want to get, and I was, had I asked, have I done this 2 years ago? I almost bought that Stealth 2 years ago. Still a sore subject. But I bought that rifle because I like the rifle. Yeah, it was in 6.5 Creed, so I guess even then I knew that I liked the 6.5 Creed cartridge. But there are some people that say I want to get me a Ruger Precision. Okay, now what caliber do you want? Well, I could go 308 or 6.5, or a lot of people are talking about 6mm Creedmoor for competition and all that. So I guess it depends on what you're looking for. If you just want a specific rifle, then go buy that rifle. But before you go buy that rifle, then if you already know the rifle, then you can go backwards and say, okay, well, now what's the best cartridge for my purpose for this rifle? If it's hunting or shooting, precision shooting or whatever, excuse me, you can do that. But yeah, I think most people are going to go with caliber first. Lance says, I'm going to go for caliber and availability. And that's something to be discussed as well is, let's say you choose 308 or 6.5 Creed or whatever that you're 224 Valkyrie, whatever you decided you want to do. And the rifle that you want isn't available. That's where Buck is kind of coming in this, because he said that he did want the Ruger originally, and he's going to go with the Savage 110 Tactical because he can't find the Ruger in stock anywhere. So he's settling for the next one, which is probably a close second. And Savage 110 is great rifles. But that's something to be thought of also is are you willing to wait maybe until stock is available or prices come down possibly, or, what's your time frame of getting this done? Because all of those do. Yeah. Availability is a big one. 223 says, when are you going to show off your rifle? Well, I can't handle it, but there it is. And if you look over on my Instagram or Facebook or whatever, or the community tab on YouTube, I've got a picture of me holding it. But that is, Clover thought that I went into the back of the dumpster of the gun shop and just got the Bergara box, but there was nothing in it. And there's some truth to that probably, but no, there is an actual rifle in there. It's not airsoft. Buck says 6.5 is good for hunting and long range. He said he was going to use his 308 till I was going to use my 308 till I got my rifle, his new rifle, until last week's chat. But here's the thing: you've already got a 308. That'll be fine for right now.
At the distances you were talking,
yeah,
eventually, yeah.
If you're talking right now, the most I've seen, there some matches go out to 1,000. Yeah, but I would say that most of them, the max you're going to go out to is about 700 typically.
Yeah. Because
a lot of ranges can't go out to 1,000. They can go out to 700 yards, but most ranges don't go out to 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about 700 and in, 308, heck yeah.
I'll rock my 308 and anything under 800 all day, every day. And yeah, at 500, it's rock freaking solid out to 500. So, even if you do get into a match that is, let's say let's put me into that situation and say, I know that it'll perform to 5. And let's say I get into a match that is 600-700, whatever, right? It is what it is. I miss and I don't place, and oh well. Right.
Right.
Doesn't mean I don't go do.
Sorry.
Doesn't mean I don't go and do my best and try, and rock the stages that I can shoot. Right.
That's right. And that's so funny because I was watching, this is probably, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. Let's just say a couple weeks ago. And I was watching an NRL match on YouTube. They put posted one up, and guy wasn't real happy. He got like 9 out of 15 on a stage, right? He gets done. He's like, man, that was terrible. I'm not happy with that. Gotta do better, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, well, my weekend's kind of shot. Well, guess what? It turned out that he had the third best score at that stage at 9 out of 15. For some reason, everyone struggled with that stage. He didn't know that, but if he had the mindset of, well, my day's done, I might as well just pack up and leave because I just got 9 out of 15. I'm going to come in last place and not care anymore. He could have done that, but he said, let me get better next stage. Well, ends up coming in like third or fourth in the entire match because everyone struggled with that one stage, and he kept his mind saying, you know what? Instead of giving up, let's go and try to make up for it. Instead of making 10 out of 12, I'm going to try to make 11 out of 12 and make up for some of those shots on other stages.
Yeah.
But he had no idea that he came like third in that stage because everyone struggled for some reason.
Yep.
So you always got to be pushing. Always got to be pushing in there.
Yeah, I've got multiple stories I could tell like that. So, I used to shoot a lot of 3D archery. And so you never knew what kind of weird stuff was going on. You never know what kind of target you would have and what kind of shooting situation.
Now, when you say 3D archery, what does that entail? Is that like mannequin?
Like this kind of yeah, but animals, right?
Bone, right. But it's not paper. It's like
no, yeah, it is. And you've got you've got a scoring zone in there, and you've got different circles, and they're worth different points, right? Usually, a hit anywhere on the target is some kind of a point. And then if you hit actual vitals or different circles like that, they're more points. But anyway, I can't tell you the number of times. Sometimes you're like literally on the side of a hill. And you have to have 1 foot on the stake, right? There's the shooting stake. It's kind of like the tee or whatever, but you have to have a foot on that. You can kneel, you can crouch, you can lay down. I don't know why you'd lay down with a bow, but you get what I'm saying. You have to have a foot there.
And sometimes you also have a foot on the ground also.
Sometimes you are literally, to get around trees and other things, you are literally doing the splits on the side of a hill.
Yeah.
To keep your foot on the stake, shooting at a target that's 20 foot below you down in a gully or something, right? And you've got to draw your bow and aim, and you got to do all this stuff, right? So just to get perspective of, so it's a similar situation to what you're talking about. I can't think of the number of times that it was all I could do just to hit the stupid thing, right? Not even score. I mean, I was 4 or 5 inches from any of the scoring areas, right? And then you get back and they're tallying the scores and they're doing other things. And you think, oh man, that sucked. And you get to talking with the other people and you're the only one that even hit the thing, right? It's like you're the only one that day that even hit that target. Everybody else lost arrows and drove arrows into the ground or whatever.
Now Buck says need to get Rob to make a stand for Rob. I might get a hold of you and see if you can make a stand for that rifle. That'd be kind of cool. It'd be more heavy duty. It's a lot heavier. But yeah, Wes out there says his son just bought a Savage Axis 2 in 270. Mario says he doesn't go out past 250. Buck's gonna go join the vets range. That's absolutely, I'm gonna join that in the next couple of weeks probably. 223 says I know a 3 will go 1,100 yards.
Yeah, 308 will go 1,500 meters for sure. It ain't got nothing when it gets there. It's a freaking 60-foot drop or some kind of crap, but it'll do it.
Lance has got. I think Lance is actually working, so he's on the choo-choo or getting ready to be on the choo-choo. I think so. Be safe out there, brother. We got caught up, but yeah. We're talking about different things, and who was it mentioned? I can't remember who it was asking if I was going to be logging my shots. So yeah, I'm going to be logging all my shots. I'm going to have a data book for sure. My Kestrel's supposed to be here Thursday, which actually works out because I'm not going to be able to really shoot in 0 and all of that until this weekend anyways. But yeah, I'll be logging all that information and hopefully be able to get an idea of, hey, at this range, at this wind speed from this direction and all that. And been talking with a lot of people that have different cool ways of doing their. One of the coolest things, and I never thought about it. I was talking to a buddy of mine that's been to us for a while. Said especially for competition, if you kind of know basically, like you're going to a match, right? And let's say that match is in Tyler, Texas. And you can go online and see what's the elevation of Tyler, Texas. What's the average for, it's going to be, October 1st. What's the average barometric measurement for October 1st in Tyler, Texas? they'll have that stuff available online. What's the average wind and what's the average, typical wind direction in Tyler, Texas in October? You can get basic information like that. Plug that into your calculations and all of that. And then what they do, a lot of is the little lens cover, the flip up lens cover for your glass. They'll have that basic stuff. Here are my mill settings for 100 yards, 200 yards, 300 yards, 400 yards, 500 yards. And you just like masking tape inside the lens cap. So when it flips up, when you're on there, you've got it right there. I know this is going to be about a 330 yard shot. So it's going to be roughly this. And it's like, could be different, but you're also going to have time that morning to figure out what the actual wind direction is, what the wind speed, what's the actual barometric. But if you have that stuff, you'll be able to make quick notes and say, okay, it's going to be this mill, up, down, left, right, or whatever. And then you've got it right there on your lens cap. And then it's just on masking tape. It's just for that match. So when you get done, you take that out, throw that masking tape, and make another one for the next match. I was like, that's genius.
Yeah, like, they make scope caps with inserts just for that purpose.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they do, but I mean, worst case scenario is just masking tape, get a little X-Acto knife, cut that out, and now you can write on, whatever. But yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there are that have little whiteboard or, little something that you write on a Sharpie.
It's replaceable inserts, right? So, you can, wherever you're going, just put the insert in for wherever you're going, right? And you don't throw those inserts away if you plan on going back to that particular place.
Put them in a bag or whatever. Yeah.
I've seen people use it for hunting purposes, right? But you could certainly, the same as you go to your different hunting camps and locations, competitions would be the same way, right? The different ranges you go to, and just keep them in a thing in your bag and pull out and put in the one you need for that particular range.
Yeah, and a lot of people are using like index cards, and for that particular range, they'll put it on their the side of their stock or wherever, and they've got it right there. Okay, say this next stage is going to be 450 yards. Okay, boom, boom, boom. I kind of get an idea.
I've seen another thing that was really cool, and I tell you, I've got an acquaintance that has a 408 shot tack.
Rob does this. Yeah.
And that's the first time I'd ever seen it. The only time actually I've ever seen it. But it was on his scope, and it was this little thing that was mounted on his scope. And I don't think it was a shot tack thing. I think it was aftermarket.
Like a ribbon thing.
But I didn't ask. But it's like a tape measure.
Yeah, exactly.
And you pull it out, and it's got all the crap on it. You pull it out, and it's like
it's made by Night Force. The one that I saw.
Yeah.
The one, and I'm sure other brands are making it, but Night Force makes one that goes right up front, and it's like, it's about,
it's like a tape measure,
half an inch, and it just pulls out. You can write whatever you want.
Yeah, dude, it was like it would pull out 3 or 4 foot or something, man. It's crazy because it rolls it up, so it's really small and it rolls up, And he pulled that thing out. It was, I don't know how far he pulled it out, but it was a long way. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah. He says loose scopes has that. Yeah. Now, this wasn't part of the scope. It was an attachment. At least the one that I saw.
Yeah. The one I seen was,
it was an attachment. But that's cool shit, man. It's little things like that. Because it's going to take me a while to be good enough. Like if I was to say, okay, Charlie, your rifle and your loads that well, dude, he's hit at 5,000 yards. He knows his shit.
Yeah.
With that particular rifle, with that load, if I was to say, okay, you've got a target at 825 yards, he can pretty much kind of look at the windsock or whatever and do the math in his head, and he probably already has it memorized what his dope is for that condition. And
dude,
boom,
when we were down there that summer, and the two guys were there at that class, and we were just kind of watching or whatever. How many times did he call their dope and And it wasn't. It might not be
rifle.
It on their rifle with their scope,
their ammo,
and their ammo, and just by looking through a spotting scope, he calls their dope, and it's on the steel, right? It may not hit center, and he'll adjust this to get center, right. But it's on the steel, and it's like that just on the fly, just as quick as he could rattle it off. It was like this many, and they would turn it, and they would like ding, and he's like a little bit off, do this, half this or quarter that,
half this, yep. Hold 1 mil to the right,
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like wow,
it's amazing. Yeah, he's that good. He's that good. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the time. I'm excited. I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited to get off tonight because as soon as we get off here, I'm gonna go put the rifle together. But no, I'm really excited, and all of this is gonna be, especially if you're a patron, you're gonna get the first shots on an exclusive video that may not ever be released. It might just be, but I'm planning on doing the break-in. Well, I don't know. I was asking if this goes up before I move on because this is a question that might need it. John J says, anyone had accuracy issues with the Henry rifles? Do larger calibers have a break-in period? Clover, you're more of a Henry guy than I am. Have you heard or had any experiences with accuracy issues with Henry?
No, I haven't. My dad's a really big Henry buff, so I mean, I don't own a lot, but I've shot a lot of them, and no, not really. Break-in. Yeah, I mean, the question is the break-in with everything, right? Is like, have you, did you break it in properly when you got it? Because if you got it and you did not go through a proper break-in procedure, then you may have forever, that may just be a 50-yard or 100-yard hunting rifle. Unfortunately, that's the problem that you can have. I was going to make a joke earlier when you were talking about barrel break-in, and I was gonna say, you know what Fuds call the first 20 rounds, don't you?
What's that?
Deer hunting. Because I can't tell you the number of times I've seen people buy something at the gun shop, have them mount the scope, bore sight it, and go straight to the deer stand.
Yep.
I cannot tell you the number of times, and it's like and yeah, if you don't break in your barrel, if you shot very many rounds through it, it's not. Now, let me say this: if it's somebody that has shot Henrys before, and you are proficient with the semi-buckhorn sights on Henrys, or let's say you're using the scope, I guess. But here's the thing: if you're using those semi-buckhorn sights, I hate them, and I cannot shoot them worth a flip. So it's not the Henry rifle. In my case, it's me. So that might be something too. If we're talking about, I don't know if he owns other Henrys or have shot other Henrys.
I don't know. It might be his first Henry, and that might be the issue.
Yeah, maybe you're like me, and those buckhorn sights don't agree. Get you a look up. Who is it? Dang it, Skinner. Look up Skinner sights. They make some good peep sights and other things for Henrys, and it'll make a huge difference if those sights just don't agree with you.
There you go.
Hopefully he doesn't have a scope on a lever gun. Oh, that's horrible.
That's something I would do.
I've got a few that way. I should, but it just it makes them look horrible when you put a scope on them. They're not made for that. But anyway,
he said at 20 yards he hit the same hole. 50 yards it's all lower. Been using a new release. Yeah, he's using a loophole scope.
Okay. So let's see, 50 yards, you're in the same hole, and so you possibly got a tumbling issue or something going on. So we haven't talked caliber, we haven't talked twist on the rifle. There's a lot of specifics, but maybe that particular load or something. It could very well be that's just that rifle doesn't agree with that load.
Very well could be. So yeah, been awesome. We're going to talk about this. We do want to go over and talk about our polls. We usually do this in the first of it. Really have enjoyed the polls. So the first poll we put out this week has 582 votes right now. And I said, who is the best Marvel character in the movies? Not overall, but the best Marvel character in the movies. And it includes the actors that play them. Okay. So your choices are Loki, who is Tom Hiddleston, Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., Captain America, Chris Evans, Thor, Chris Hemsworth, or Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson. Now, obviously, there's a lot of great Marvel, and I might have just put Avenger instead of that, but I know there's a lot of great ones. Those are the ones that I chose. So before I give the results of those 5, taking in consideration the actor that plays them in the movies and all of that, of those 5, what's the best Marvel character of those choices? Clove, you there? Uh-oh. Clover?
Yeah, I was muted. Sorry. I was trying to answer some follow-ups out there in the chat. I'll follow up here in a minute. So I wasn't even listening. It was a Marvel character.
Okay, so Marvel characters in the movies. This includes the character, but also the actors playing in them. Okay. Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston. Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., Captain America with Chris Evans, Thor with Hemsworth, and Black Widow with Scarlett. Of those 5, what would be your favorite character in the movies?
Overall, I think I went with Stark. I went with Downey Jr. And the reason is, in the more recent stuff, we had a conversation privately about this. In the more recent stuff, Hemsworth really came on. But ever since the first Iron Man, I mean, Downey Jr. has just nailed it with Stark and the little quips and everything else. It's just been
billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
Yeah, right. And he's just been consistent through all the films, right? And where Hemsworth is a close second, but Hemsworth he hasn't through all the films.
And see, and here's the thing. I choose Hemsworth. I love Hemsworth. Thor's character is with Hemsworth playing it because I love Hemsworth. I think Hemsworth is just awesome and hilarious and all that. And I think a lot of it comes down to with Tony Stark and Iron Man. I mean, I guess it's just he's been playing that role for so long and so well. It's almost like gotten boring. That's just it's one of those things where I look at Robert Downey Jr. and hey, there's Tony Stark. I don't see him as Robert Downey Jr. He's that good at that character. But I picked Thor, and I tell you, I would say that Tony Stark is second, but I'll tell you one that I really, really, really do like, and it's not the character. It's the actor. I love Loki. I love the way that Tom Hiddleston plays Loki. He does a phenomenal. He's like the villain that you gotta love. You know, you're rooting for him to be that smart ass. You know he's gonna cause trouble. You know he's gonna be a thorn in your side, but you're pulling for him. But I like Tom Hiddleston as well. Good one. So you and John you guys are going to be able to figure that out, I think, maybe. Hopefully.
I think that, he was talking about basically a pistol caliber carbine, might as well say, in a 44 mag.
Yeah.
And so, he was talking about one whole grouping at 50 yards, and that 44 mag is going to, I mean, it's a heck of a slug and all that. Don't get me wrong, and the velocities, especially in a rifle barrel and all of that kind of stuff. But, I mean, they call that a very, very good brush gun for a reason, because range it does not have.
Yeah. Jesse out there says, little disappointed that Hawkeye wasn't in the mix. I'm a huge fan of Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
I get that. I'll tell you another one that I thought about only because of the latest actor is the Tom, whatever his name is, that plays in the Spider-Man, the newest Tom Holland. I'm a fan of his, but I wasn't even a big fan of Tobey Maguire. Not that I thought he did a bad job, but I wasn't a fan of this Spider-Man. I enjoy but I didn't put Spider-Man because historically the Spider-Man actors have been bad. That's just my opinion. You can shoot me if you want, but now I am enjoying. Was it Tom Holland? I am enjoying his Spider-Man, but I mean, there's a lot of good ones. I'm a huge Don Cheadle fan. Not that his character is a big one, but in general, over the years, I'm a huge Don. I think he's a great actor, but I'm not going to put his character. It's just the way it is. So that was a good one. The next one that we have. Oh, by the way, with 580, I haven't. Let me refresh this real quick. So with 5, let me scroll back down. With 582 votes, Tony Stark / Iron Man, played by Robert Downey Jr., is in first place with 56% of the vote. Thor comes in second place with 19%. Captain America comes in third at 13%. Black Widow at 8% and Loki at 4%. I was honestly a little bit surprised that Captain America wasn't in second place above Thor, just because everyone praises Chris Evans all the time on Captain America. I like Thor. I like Hemsworth, but for the longest time, everyone says that Chris Evans is the perfect Captain America, and I'm surprised it came in third, honestly.
Yeah.
You're more of a Marvel and all of that than I am, but are you surprised that Thor came in second?
No, I think it fell. I think it fell about right, to be honest.
Okay.
I mean, you've got Evans in third, right?
Yeah. Evans in third, then Scarlet in fourth, then Loki in fifth.
Because that's what I would think. Because I mean, you've got here's my rationale for the way it lined out. Was again, like I said, Robert Downey Jr. consistent through the entire film history, right? Hemsworth, not consistent, but amazing in the latest films, right? I mean,
last 2 or 3, amazing.
Has come on stronger and stronger and stronger. So deserving of second. Evans, while consistent, not grandiose, not to the level, I don't think, of as far as gaining attention, not to the level of a Downey Jr. or a Thor. And then Scarlett Johansson was fourth, right? And then
and then Loki.
Loki was fifth. And so I think screen time probably put Johansson above Loki, right?
Yeah.
And then Loki at the bottom. So I mean, that's my rationale for it to say, hey, it makes sense.
Sure, absolutely. The next poll, which is we're always gonna have a food poll, because you gotta have a food poll. This is something that you and I have discussed forever, and a lot of people have had this argument with over 750 votes in this one. Best fast food French fry: McDonald's fry, Wendy's, Arby's curly fries, Chick-fil-A waffle fries, or Popeye's Cajun fries. What say you?
Yeah, I was in the chat again. What the crap? You're going to fire me.
All right. Best fast food French fry.
Oh, McDonald's. I'm not even going to, you don't even have to put nothing up. Just stop. Just stop. You don't even have to lay the options out. Best fast food French fry, hands down, bar none, McDonald's, period. Everything else comes after that. Now, if you want to say best fast food French fry other than McDonald's, I'm in. We can have a discussion at that point. But hands down, McDonald's. Let me tell you, within the first 10 minutes of them being served or something, right?
Oh, yeah, they gotta be fresh. They have to be fresh. Right. If they're not fresh, the McDonald's fries are very bad.
And by the way, you can actually, of course, if you go during lunchtime or something like that, it's usually not a problem. But if you go in off hours, you can actually request, and McDonald's they're very good to drop a fresh order of fries if that's what you want.
You might have to wait a few minutes, but that's okay.
And a trick.
The wait is worth it.
Yeah. And a trick, here's a little hack. If they don't, just go in and order fries without salt. And they will have to drop a fresh batch, and then just put the salt on them yourself.
Put your salt on yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, aside from McDonald's, of the other 4,
what was the other 4?
Wendy's.
It's pretty good.
Arby's curly fries.
That's pretty good.
Chick-fil-A waffle fries. And Popeye's Cajun fries.
It's done. It's not even a contest with the waffle fries.
Yep. In my order, it would be McDonald's, hands down, and not a second, not a close second, but still Way above third place would be Chick-fil-A waffle fries.
Yeah, but that's because they're waffle fries. I don't know if they were regular fries, if they would be.
I don't know either. I don't know either.
You know,
I agree, but they are waffle fries, so I don't have to agree about that.
Yeah, so put an asterisk on that one. You know,
like that. There ain't no asterisk. No.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever.
For me, at that point, Arby's curly fries and Popeye's Cajun fries, it's close. It's close. Wendy's fries are by far the worst, unless there's a caveat.
Unless you dip them in a Frosty.
Unless you dip them in a Frosty. Then everything is better dipped in a Frosty.
Yeah. You know, another fun fact here. Chick-fil-A waffle fries are the worst value in fries ever. Because of the Chick-fil-A. The waffle fries are the worst value.
They take up the whole thing. Yeah,
because of the way they're designed and the way the cartons are designed, and you don't get, as far as volume of fries on your order, you don't get nothing.
Now, value Popeyes is by far the best, because if you order a large order of fries, it comes in a huge box, like literally a box of fries.
Yeah.
Now, Buck wants to know when you and I are going to do the milkshake and donut, the Krispy Kreme, and it's not a milkshake and donut. No. This is a Krispy Kreme and a Frosty, two different things. Yeah, a milkshake and a Frosty. You can't call it a milkshake. A Frosty stands on its own. It's going to happen in November.
Yeah, we will not. We missed out on that in April, and I kicked myself.
We will not leave Tulsa without doing that this November.
Yeah, we will have to do Krispy Kreme donuts dipped in a Frosty. We will have to do that.
Yeah,
and we'll probably have diabetes before we get back home, but that's okay.
If you're gonna go, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
With over 750 votes, McDonald's in first place with 42%. I'm a little surprised it only got 42% of the vote, to be honest with you.
Well, that's two polls in a row. I don't think I've ever picked the winner before.
Right. Yeah.
And that's two in a row that I picked the winner. So
there's no chance that you're going to pick all three of them this time. But
it's zero. It's zero. It's still zero. It's not going to happen.
So McDonald's 42%, Chick-fil-A waffle fries in second place at 26%. Arby's curly fries in third place at 17%, Popeyes at 8%, and Wendy's at 7%. I'm a little surprised that Wendy's even came close to Popeyes. No offense to Wendy's.
Yeah.
But Wendy's French fries are not good.
They're not that good.
They're just not that good.
Now they are if you put the chili and cheese on them. They are if I put
everything's better with chili and cheese, bro.
I understand that, but I'm saying that's when but what I was going to say is Sonic's French fries are the same. Sonic's French fries and Wendy's French fries are very similar, and about the only way I'll eat them is they're going to have chili and cheese on them or something.
Yep, no doubt. People were asking me why Whataburger's French fries are not on there.
Oh. That's very close to McDonald's for me.
It's very really close to McDonald's. But
everything at Whataburger is up there.
I didn't want to start a war.
Well, that's way too regional still, too, I think.
It is. And a lot of people, and honestly, that's why I did, because people in Arkansas, if you've never been to Texas, don't even know what Whataburger is. So there's a lot of states that are like that. But no,
sadly.
For sure.
Sadly.
I know. They just don't know. They just don't know. And the last, which is always going to be a gun-related poll.
Polls,
the Ghost Tactical polls. Best submachine gun: Chris Vector, the Beretta PM12, the P90, Uzi, or the MP5. Maybe we should have said aside from the MP5.
Probably should have, because I'm sure that's number one.
Oh, by far. Yeah.
And that was not an MP5 in Die Hard, people. Quit saying it was. Quit.
No, it was. Was that a 91?
HK94.
94. Okay. Interesting is I want to say, I'm pretty sure that the actual designation for the MP5 was the 54. or it was based off of the 54, kind of modified a little bit.
Yeah.
But the 53, what people don't realize is the HK 53 is basically an MP5 chambered in 5.56, which that would be fun as hell to shoot too. I never shot one before.
Yeah.
But I think that would be really fun to shoot as well. The 91, I want to say, is the 308 version, correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, that's a great gun. There was one in the gun shop here not too long ago. They wanted like $6,000 for it, which really isn't that bad.
Semi-auto?
Semi-auto, yeah.
Yeah.
Gunpowder says, I found a Whataburger in Missouri. You shut your mouth. They may have one in Branson. I don't know. They might. Gary, he's saying that Sonic is way better than Wendy's. Okay, so they may be way better than Wendy's, but they're still not even close to a lot of others.
Could be.
I don't like Sonic. There's only a few things at Sonic that I'll eat. Their chili cheese coney. I will eat their tater tots.
Yep.
I will eat their pretzel twists.
Yep.
And that's about it. I don't like their burgers at Sonic. I don't like their chicken at Sonic. I'm not a big Sonic person.
So for me,
I didn't know that Rod has a 91. You son of a bitch.
Yeah. And he's in Utah now. That sucks. Or Idaho or wherever.
Idaho, yeah.
So Sonic for me is literally, and that's what they market now. Like the snack capital of the world, right?
Yeah,
so drinks and their snack stuff.
Now their drinks, Sonic Ice is the best ice in the world. By the way.
Drinks and their snack stuff. I had a Diet Trey limeade earlier today. Oh, fabulous. Anyway, so one thing I want to put out there, because I did try this and it was good. It was rather good, but it's way too expensive. Sonic has a chicken. It's called a slider. Is that what it's called? Somebody out there may know what I'm talking about, but I don't know if it's called
like a.
Yeah, I don't know if it's called a
White
chicken
Castle slider chicken
or what. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah,
it's a small chicken sandwich basically.
Okay.
It was. So I tried it the other day, right? Because I don't care for their regular chicken sandwiches, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get that just to try it. It was good, but it was also like $3 and something or some kind of crap. It was it was ridiculous for the price. So totally not worth it. But what I was going to say,
chicken sandwich. DQ is a really good chicken sandwich.
Yeah, DQ is pretty good all the way around.
In Texas, people don't realize Brahms has a wonderful burger.
Yeah, Brahms. Well, Brahms
is,
Brahms food in general, right? Even their market food and stuff like that. That's in their little super shopping center thing. So what I was going to say about Sonic though, and this applies to Dairy Queen, to DQ as well. I've been in DQs that served all kinds of crazy stuff before. The franchising with Sonic and DQ is not, it's kind of regional, and it's not as hardcore strict nationally as some other chains. So that could be the difference why I'm saying Sonic's french fries are similar, maybe. I don't know.
All right, so let's just do this real quick, and you're going to get this question asked, and the people out there in the chat. You got to choose one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
White Castle or Crystal?
Well, here's the problem. I don't know what either one of those are. No, let me back up. I know what White Castle is. I've never had it, other than the frozen crap. I've never had it. Yeah, I've never had White Castle. There's never been one around close enough to try, and I don't know what you're talking about with Crystal at all.
Crystal, the same thing. A little sliders. Crystal will blow away White Castle. Crystal, they're more like Southeast. I figured you might have seen them when you were in Alabama or something.
No, I never did. Now I've always, like I said, I've had the frozen White Castle, and I've always, obviously the fresh stuff or whatever is going to be
bad for frozen.
Obviously the fresh stuff's going to be better, and I've always wanted to try it. But I've passed by some, like driving down the interstate, going here or there, and it's never just come up or been convenient when. I was thinking about it because there's not one anywhere close to here. Like hours, I would have to drive hours.
Crystal, they're like they're little sliders, but they come in 6-packs.
Yeah.
So you go and you buy 6-pack. I want a 6-pack of Crystal Burgers or 12-pack or 18 or whatever. You buy them in 6-packs and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
good. So good.
I can remember once upon a time when, was it Burger King that used to do that?
Did they really? I don't remember.
I think
that.
so. They had their little 6-pack sliders, or it was an 8-pack, or it was maybe it was a 4-pack. I don't remember. But yeah.
No, now that you mention that, that does ring a bell.
But I'm mad at Burger King because the cheesy tots need to be a staple on the freaking menu. I don't understand why they're not. Those cheesy tots are fabulous.
I'll tell you what are pretty good for the price. Let me preface it by the price. You can get a 10-piece chicken tender at Burger King for $1.49.
Yeah.
For $1.49, that chicken's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not like nuggets that you get at McDonald's for $4. So you get a dozen for $1.49 or 10 of them for $1.49.
Yeah.
You're not bad at Burger King.
Yeah, no, that's pretty reasonable. Now, one thing at Burger King that I've threatened, I mean, I'm gonna
for a limited time that little 6-pack, I guess, or whatever.
So I wanna try the Impossible Whopper just to try it because I know
I won't do it. I love a Whopper, but I will not try it.
I know people that have tried it and they're like, yeah, it's actually good, and I'm like, I want to try it just to try it. That's it, just to try it. And I haven't yet, but I'm going to one day.
I won't. I won't because I know what it is, and I just can't do it. Elvis's out there says, "Nice to see your long range purchase. Looking forward to the results, my friend. I can't wait to start, man. I literally, like, my wife even knows that I was like a little kid at Christmas today because I knew that it was on truck for delivery at 7:30 this morning." And so I kept on every couple hours, and at 10:30 or 10:40, whatever it was, I got the notification delivered at the gun shop, and I gave them about an hour and a half to get it logged in. Went in there during lunchtime, and it was so funny because I pulled into the gun shop, and you can kind of see out the window from behind the counter. And I guess he saw me pull in. So as soon as I pulled up, he went into the back and got the rifle, and he had it sit there waiting for me. As soon as I walked in the door, and he goes, "Looking for something?" And I was like, "You bet." So I'm a little kid. I cannot wait. Like I said, I haven't been this excited about a firearm in a long, long time. And it's not just the firearm, it's the whole journey with this firearm I'm looking forward to. So cannot wait. Cannot wait. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. Hold on.
Yeah, drink.
Red Solo cup will fill you up. Yeah.
Let's have a party.
Yeah, no kidding. So yeah,
we
it was
have
fun.
for an hour and 45 minutes. We've had a
45 minutes, and like I said, if you were here to see Charlie, we apologize. Charlie's had a rough day. No, I'm gonna blame the airline or the airport. I really don't know. All I know is I'm getting texts from. And he's had a rough day with his traveling. He was flying out west, or supposed to be flying out west. Needless to say, it's been an interesting day of travel for Charlie. So he couldn't make it tonight. We will obviously make that up when he is available. Hopefully, maybe next week, and see what he's got going on. Maybe next week. I can't remember. It's next week Athlon. I've got Athlon coming on pretty soon to talk about optics. Especially, this is from Dustin from Athlon. So we can be talking Athlon stuff also, but he's also long-range precision shooter. So the discussion is going to be optics for beginners, like what to look for, what's good, MOA versus MIL or whatever. We'll be talking Athlon stuff, but the general conversation of scopes for beginners of all this. So I can't remember if that's next week or whenever it is. We will get Charlie in the next couple of weeks faux show. But yeah, thanks for coming on, bud. Thanks for always riding shotgun. Tell people where they can find you. You've got a new project, a new channel out there that I think a lot of people out in the chat right now could really be interested in. So you can talk what you want to, but I figured that might come up. You want to tell people where they can find you and what you've got going on right now?
You talking GunTuber Academy?
I am talking GunTuber Academy.
GunTuber Academy. Yeah, if you want to get really ticked off because I tell you the truth about YouTube and the platforms, yeah, go check out GunTuber Academy. Basically have moved. I mean, it's nothing new. The folks that are regular out there know that I've talked, nerd stuff and whatnot in the past. And thank you, Gizzard. Gizzard's always on the ball with throwing links out there.
I was going to get it right now, but he beat me to it.
Yeah,
I was literally hitting copy, and I looked down, and he's already got it.
So basically, just move the nerd stuff over there. I mean, if you're looking for the old after hours shows or the studio shows, they're all in playlists over there now. So go over there, click on playlist, and they're all in there, and you can catch up with that stuff if you want to. But I'm putting out, little shorter videos. And it's more geared. Everything is applicable, I guess, to other niches and stuff as well, or it can be. But for the most part, I'm kind of giving you the direction and perspective, and what I know from my contacts and other things. More so from a gun tuber's perspective. So that's kind of where it applies and why it's called GunTuber Academy. There's a lot of creator helpers out there. And I follow them, and I've been in classes and courses with them and all kinds of stuff. But the thing about the big creator helpers that, cater to try to help every single niche and everything else is they don't know enough. They're dedicated creator helpers, but they don't create content in a specific niche to understand a lot of the nuances and other things. So by starting GunTuber Academy, I'm hoping I can bring sort of that big channel GunTuber help, but then niche it down to where it's more specific to us. So that's the goal of it there.
G23 says he's considering rebranding his channel. What are you going to rebrand it to?
So
did people finally shame him enough about the 40 Smith & Wesson that he's just walking away with his tail tucked saying, you guys are right, the 40 sucks?
So if I can get nerdy for a minute, can I?
I don't care.
I was G23 when I was setting up the GunTuber Academy channel. One of the things was to link some gun channels under the channels tabs and all that, right? And so everybody should be doing that. If you have a channel, you should be helping promote the community by putting others that you follow and in your channels tab. Anyway, I was doing that, and I noticed that G23 is very, very hard channel to search. And I have identified the reason is his name. It's way too short, generic, and whatever.
On top of that, G23, you're going to have a million Glock videos if they come up before his channel does.
Yeah. And so I would keep G23 in the name if you are that, attached to it. But I would absolutely let's call it extend the brand, right? I would at least extend your branding a little bit as far as your channel name goes.
Yeah, he says it's still going to be a two-way channel, just thinking of a unique name.
Yeah.
I don't know this, but I would assume that when G23 first got on YouTube as a viewer and thought, well, it asks you for a username for YouTube, G23. I don't think that maybe when he put G23 in the username that he ever expected to be a creator himself. I don't know that, but I'm assuming that's probably where it went. And now it is time. Yeah. It is time maybe to brand something,
Yeah. Yep. And you could, like I said, you could keep the G23 portion, just extend it out to G23 something Second Amendment or something.
Even
2A G23
40 for life. I don't know, but I don't know.
Or 2A G23, or just you extend it that way or something. Yeah.
Now, I love you, Rod. But what the hell?
Well, that's a good way to get me to not love you.
That's what I'm saying is I'm going to give it to you because you're former LEO, and that's probably what you were issued was 40.
He was brainwashed to love it.
But what in the Sam hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He says, think about changing it to a lifestyle as the name. My original name was G23 all day, every day. To a lifestyle.
That doesn't leave you much flexibility if
That's
you
what I'm
lean into
thinking,
anything
is
else.
Search could be interesting, but more importantly, you're almost sending yourself down a predetermined path with that name. It's not giving you a whole lot of movement there. You do what you want. And then Snob, this must be he must be smoking dope. Did you go get your medical marijuana card? Snob says I'm running to the sexiest gun tuber on YouTube.
Nice. You must have went and got some plastic surgery and a physical trainer, and yeah, must have. Actually learned how to talk on camera. I swear to God, the guy from the Wolf Pit or whatever, which is a food channel.
Hold on.
I swear to God,
you're criticizing someone's the way they talk.
The Wolf Pit guy is snob. Don't let him fool you. If you go over there to watch the food channel, the Wolf Pit, just go listen to that. That's snob. I'm telling you, he never shows his face on camera, and where it is, he's disabled or something like that. But I'm convinced it's snob.
Gary says, and hair implants.
It's funny. So 2A lifestyle, just again to get nerdy. You've got a little competition you're going to have a little competition from G-Webs. So you know, 2A EDU Hank Strange, all going to be right there in the in the competition for you. So just be aware of that. And then plus you kind of pigeonhole yourself maybe a little bit too much.
The lifestyle, yeah.
I mean, if you could do everything off of strictly 2A content, and maybe this is more of a private conversation for G23, of course, and throwing everything out here live. But
you don't have to listen to us, by the way. You can say up yours. I want to go with whatever I want.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, if you're planning on ever doing reviews and stuff like that, which let's face it, are what's going to get and keep long tail traffic. On a channel, having a channel name that is tied strictly to 2A is not, your niche down a little bit too much. Where I was talking about GunTuber Academy, right? Niching down for a specific purpose. You're niching down. So understand that, you know, you might not be able to pull back from that.
Well, here's the thing. The interesting thing is when I first started, the first 4 or 5 videos were all about IDPA. Because that's what my first video. That's why I did the first video was IDPA for beginners. So I had these 4 or 5 videos. Looking back on that now, I mean, it's all worked out, obviously. But had I kept on going and did only IDPA videos, we're talking about the gun niche is already small. Can you imagine doing just IDPA videos?
Right.
Like it's incredibly small.
Right. And ultimately, would Ghost Tactical be a good name for?
Not for IDPA videos, no.
Right. See, the one saving grace I have
is it was a call sign, or nickname, whatever you want to call it.
So, yeah.
My channel Ghost, because talking about a really bad, weird search term, Ghost would not do well.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't. It needs to be more specific. So with mine, the saving grace with Clover Tack is, and some people actually, like Hank Strange, when I'm on his, he's like, it's Clover Tactical. And I'm like, it's not Clover Tactical, it's Clover Tack. I'm not tactical. There's nothing in my channel that's tactical. Quit. And so that's the only really saving grace.
The yellow glasses, those are pretty tactical.
Is it? Yeah, they are. It doesn't say tactical. It's just Clover Tack. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Which could be tactic, which could be, tactile, could be thumbtack. Who knows?
Could be. Hey, you're such a good. You're freaking driving tacks in that board over there.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's what we'll go with. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh shit. All right.
Rabbit hole.
Cool. We're right there at 2 hours. We're out.
I'm ready.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Sorry, like I said, if you tuned in to watch Charlie's had a rough day with travel. We'll just keep it at that. And hopefully we'll get Charlie on the next couple of weeks when he gets back and all that. Yeah, that's true. Before we go, I'm not even gonna let you talk about it, because I know it'll take me to another rabbit hole. I'm going to mention what Rich said. The 458 SOCOM with suppressor is pretty tactical. That is true. That is true. Lord.
That's Blood Rail.
G23. Anyways, yeah, everybody take care. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you soon. Semper Fi.